Hello and welcome back to Ys, the Felgana. Hey, it's the overworld music, which is good in almost every version of this game you can care to play. The title is The Boy's Got Wings, or The Boy Who Had Wings, and it's one of the evolutions of the theme of Adol that showed up fairly early on in the series. I think I might actually put up a comparison video in the thread that I found. So anyway, we're actually heading towards our first dungeon, the Tigre Quarry, or if you're playing certain English version, the Tigre Quarry. And there's our save point. Aye. Okay, first off, what's wrong with your lips? I guess they're all swollen like that because the dungeon in there is full of bees. Well, ain't that the way? Okay, objective is clear. We are the rescue party for the rescue party. Okay. So, I'm going to talk to you about some boring stuff, namely level design. The thing is, in this game, there are a couple of dungeons and some other areas that are really meant to be evocative of Wanderers from Ys. Because the way that this particular section is constructed, along with a later section, the Deep Mines, is that the primary methods of locomotion through these areas is along the X-Y axis rather than really involving depth of field. Like your primary methods of reaching rooms exits is by moving up and down or left and right, not towards or away from the camera, I guess you'd call it. Basically, the quarry and the deep mines could be reconstructed as 2D levels like they were in the original Wanderers. But the quarry is a pretty good introduction to the kinds of things you'll be having to mess with in Felgana, because there are monsters down here you already have to be careful for, like those goblins who can survive a whole combo and hit back decently hard. However, they do give a warning. However, the dungeon itself is rather straightforward. There are no real tricks. You don't really have any mobility or puzzle options, so they don't expect you to use those to proceed. And just by generally exploring, you'll very easily find out where you have to be and what you have to do. That's pretty true of most of the dungeons in this game, but it's especially apparent in this particular one. By the way, a small note about the boost effect in this version. Unlike in Ys Origin, the boost lasts a very short amount of time, and it doesn't really become decent until we get a certain item we're going to be picking up later. So you won't really see me use it that much in both in Felghana, unlike in Ys Origin. You can't jump that gap. That's crazy. Once you've learned what the game wants from you in these areas, it shouldn't be too bad. The normal enemies don't become a huge threat until the deep mines. So most people should be able to handle this just fine. Oh yeah, like in Ys Origin, there are no stockable healing items. You have to rely on drops. And this drop reliance is actually going to be engineered into a new mode for the upcoming release of Ark of Nepishtim called Catastrophe Mode. Tell me your troubles, citizen. And there's our minor friend, surprisingly unthreatened in this version. Ah, yes. Swords do not work down there. One of the things about Oath and Felghana is that it actually completely discards Wanderer's old magic system. Basically in Wanderers, you had these rings like you did in Ys 1. However, they could be used in boss rooms, but they were dependent on ring power, which you got from killing enemies, or could be recharged at the store in Redmont. That has been completely thrown away. So now it's just back to the storeroom, which is by the save point we passed by earlier. And if it seems like I'm going out of my way to kill stuff, believe me, it's necessary. One of the most important boss strategies you can learn in Ys games is gain a level. Because Ys games still retain some old-school sensibilities, and one of those is really grinding. That guy was a bit slippery. So many healing items I can't take with me. Yeah, in Wanderers, you used to be able to carry healing herbs and other healing items around with you, but not in this game. Okay, we are going to come up with our first boss. Once I enter the correct door to the first boss. Oh? Okay, our first boss is Dularn. Dularn had precisely one line in Wanderers, which was, "I am Dularn, here I come." But in this game, he's a super major antagonist. Now, from what I gathered from the threads that came around when this game first came out on Steam, Dulan surprised some people. And it's pretty easy to see why, because Dulan is not the kind of first boss you normally expect from an action RPG. It really requires some precise timing to avoid, and you really have to make the most of what limited movement options you have. You have to jump over these the right way, but if you try to jump to avoid this other attack, it's guaranteed to hit you. And once he gets below half health or so, he starts summoning all kinds of other weird stuff. Plus his sword attacks get faster. It's really a pretty nasty first boss to have. Yeah, we may have beaten Dulan now, but he's going to be clashing with us for almost the whole game. Okay, so instead of the ring system in Wanderers, what we have is a magic system that's pretty much identical to the one that they would implement in Ys Origin. Which is to say, spammable magic with an automatically refilling MP bar. I don't actually need to use it yet, but I will, because there are a lot of, well, not really a lot, but there are some enemies in Oath and Folgana that are really just immune to your sword attacks and can only be beaten by magic or even just certain kinds of magic. There are all kinds of elemental weaknesses, and that would be carried over into Ys Origin as well. By the way, more on the topic of Wanderers, I really tried to beat that game. I played the Genesis version, and I got as far as the end of Valestine Castle, and decided, this just isn't gonna work. I really wanted to beat that game before I ever even tried anything like this, but it just wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, Adol knows how to pick up all kinds of weirdo magic. By the way, keep an eye out for pots if you are playing this game, because those give some really much-needed gold. Enemies themselves don't start dropping decent gold for a really long time. There's a whole lot of scarcity involved in Oath and Felghana when it comes to cash and upgrade juice for a fair chunk of the game. By the way, that jump over there can't be made by just pressing the jump. What you need to do is exploit the extra distance you get from doing your jumping sword combo to get over there. You don't need the wind bracelet to do it. And if I look like I'm running around like an adult with my head cut off, it's because I forgot to actually equip the magic. There we go. So those bugs can't be hurt by your sword. And speaking of which, the prize for defeating DULARN in Wanderers was the longsword, which in this game is available in the shop when it originally wasn't in Wanderers. There are a couple of other pieces of equipment that you can buy now that you couldn't originally, like the longsword and the bandit slayer, which was given to you as a story item in Wanderers. By the way, never worry about fall damage. There's only one East game where Adol ever suffered fall damage, and that game is non-canon. So, after you get the bracelet, it's just sort of plowing your way through the other denizens of the quarry. Not much more to really say, but there is something you might miss if you don't explore the depth of the level, I guess you would say. I'll show you once I'm done squishing these bugs, and that bat, and that bug. Yeah, the game is not afraid of throwing hordes of monsters at you. Hey, an unlit torch! Truly, that was on par with the great riddles of La Milana. Okay, like in Ys Origin, you need to acquire one of the power-up gems before you can do the charged magic attacks. And those charged attacks are really important. Okay, now we're at the lowest level of the quarry. Gonna use that. And you're making me do this. Hello, middle-aged man. I'm an adventurer, what's your excuse? You know, kill monsters, get XP, acquire gold. It's no problem. Wasn't that hard getting down here. Oh, everybody be hurtin' they legs. Well, that sounds like a terrible idea. Well, yeah, I want to progress in the game, but we'll be doing that next time because there are a couple of things I want to do off-screen before the next boss fight. But I will be seeing you then when we finish this up. Bye!